Hi, this is Jason Nickleby, Coordinator of Officials with the Minnesota State High School League, and this is Football Officiating Training Tape number 2. Great to see the number of games that got in last week. I know there will be some challenges as we move ahead, trying to get games in, moving them around. Just continue to be flexible and patient, and we will get through the season as best we can. Make sure as officials that we are doing everything we can do to be safe personally and to provide safety to the student athletes and the coaches. We're going to take a look at some more plays this week. Again, not picking on any one school or crew or official, just trying to learn from these plays and take a look at mechanics and philosophy and positioning and put ourselves in the shoes of the official and how would we make determinations on these plays if we had these plays in our games. So with that, we'll get to look at some plays here, and thanks again for your efforts last week. Looking forward to another great week of football. Okay, in this initial play, we have a free kick here, kind of a squib onside kick combo. Gets possessed around the 27-yard line or so. So first thing, let's look at initial positioning. Our umpire is in excellent position, 2 yards off the sideline, exactly where we want him. Back judge maybe work a little bit deeper. We're about a yard, which is okay, but we want to be about 2 yards on free kicks. And then remember, line of scrimmage, we're on the pylon, so on a play like this, we're going to have to work up the field, but we don't need to be in a hurry. We can still see blocks. We can still officiate out in space from where we are about the 10, 15-yard line if we're moving up in a nice, deliberate pace. We don't need to run, as Mike Graff would say, we don't need to run like our butt is on fire. Just work your way up deliberately, like this line of scrimmage official does here. Very deliberate, kills the clock, watches players, gets the spot. This is very well done by the line of scrimmage official at the bottom of the screen. Obviously is not in a hurry, is officiating blocks. We're not worried about the forward progress spot, remember, on free kicks. We need to make sure we get bad blocks. If we miss the progress spot by a yard, not a big deal. We want to make sure we get bad blocks. But good initial position. If we have a short kick like this, we're going to work our way up, picking up blocks, and then we can square off on the progress spot, which we do here. Officiating players, nice and calm, very nice controlled movements. This is exactly what we want from a pre-kick positioning standpoint, and then our officiating mechanics during the free kick. So this is very well done by the crew on this play. Okay, on this play we have 3rd and 12, so we're anticipating a pass on this play, which we have. Very nice play by number 1 here. Let's talk our mechanics at the line of scrimmage on a play like this. So remember, line of scrimmage officials, we are holding the line until the pass is imminent, which we do here. Referee, we're in good initial position. Try not to move forward. Let's move straight backwards, and if the quarterback crosses our face, that's fine. We'll let him go out to the sideline or out to the side zone, and we will officiate inside out. Try not to take a step forward. Go straight backwards, and then we're in good position. You can see on the replay we are officiating inside out eventually, so that's good. Just work straight backwards and then officiate inside out. And then from a line of scrimmage position, we hold the line, and then we take off when the pass is imminent, and then we are in good position to rule on this toe tap play. Remember, if we are facing the sideline like this and we go contact inbounds, any contact with toes like this is going to be good if we survive the ground and complete the catch and the process of the catch. If we're faced the other way, we have to make sure our whole foot is inbound. So if we go toe and then heel on the white, it would be incomplete. But in this case, facing the sideline, he has one full foot down, it looks like, which is good enough. But if it was just the toes, that's also good enough. But this is excellent coverage. Back judge is there to assist with dead ball officiating as well. So this is just really well handled by the crew from a mechanic standpoint. Referees work backwards. We're picking up those blocks. Perhaps this year the umpire can assist on those blocks at the line of scrimmage near the quarterback, because remember, we are going to the free defender, the threat for foul. We need to get our vision there. And then line of scrimmage, excellent hustle and coverage on this play. Nice signal at the end indicating that we have a catch. And then back judges there to clean up and dead ball officiate. So this is really well handled by the crew, both mechanically and coverage and positioning wise. Good example of what we want. Okay, free kick here. Good initial position by the back judge and the umpire, 2 yards off the sideline. This is what we want. Remember, back judges and umpires, let K cross your face entirely before you come onto the field. And remember, our positioning is going to be about halfway between the sideline and the middle of the field, so roughly where the numbers are on this particular field. And then we are going to officiate blocks, that first wave of blocks, officiating from the inside of the field to the outside, so officiating inside out. And if we do that, we might pick up this block here by number 23 of the white. You see it right there at the 41-yard line. We'll see it again on a couple replays. This is enough for a blindside block, and this is a foul that we would want called. I think based on where the contact takes place, that this is a really good one for the back judge to pick up. If we are at around the numbers and we are stationary officiating inside out, I think we pick up this block. Keeping in mind that blocks within about 5 to 10 yards of the sideline are one of the most commonly missed areas on the field for coverage. And there's plenty of players between that block and the back judge, but I think this is probably the back judge's play to get. So really need to focus in on lead blocks and that first wave, back judges and umpires. Ball carrier is not going to be our responsibility. This would be ours. And if you take a look at Rule 943, and it says that players shall not execute a blindside block outside of the free blocking zone with forceful contact unless initiated with open hands. And you'll see here again on the replay that it's initiated with the shoulder. It's in the side, so it's a side block, so it's not a block in the back, but it is forceful. He doesn't see it coming, and it's not initiated with open hands. So this is a blindside block foul that we would want called. And just remember, back judges and umpires, really key to pick up that initial wave of blocks. Don't get caught up with the ball carrier, because this is how we miss these kinds of blocks. And we also can miss targeting in this area as well. So this is not a targeting foul, but it is enough for a blindside block foul, and it is one we would want called. And back judges and umpires, this is where our vision should be, so we can pick up these kinds of blocks on free kicks. Okay, 2nd and 13 on this play from the 3. So our initial direction for line of scrimmage should be towards the pylon, since the goal line is the most important line on the field for this play. We don't see a lot of going out mechanics from inside the 5. So this is a good example of what we want. So we're moving towards the pylon at the snap, and then we can move forward for forward progress, making sure that the goal line is not threatened. Then we can move forward from there. And then we come down in the white, square off, put our hand up to indicate that the play is dead. So this is excellent line of scrimmage mechanics. This is exactly what we want. Moving towards the pylon at the snap, officiating the goal line, and then moving forward for forward progress, squaring off, and then raising a hand to indicate that the ball is dead. So this is excellent mechanics by the line of scrimmage official on this play. On this play, 35 seconds to go in the second quarter, no timeouts for the offense, clock is critical, running down, and they're going to clock the football. All that's fine, but we have a flag at the top of the screen for illegal formation. And I want to use this play as an example of how we can communicate as a crew, both prior to the play, during the series, and then once a foul occurs, to make sure that we are 100% accurate when time is a factor, the pressure's on. We need to make sure that we have everything all squared away before we move on with the next play. So we have legal formation, repeat second down, all that's great announcement, great poise by the referee, and we mark it off. You see here on the replay, umpire puts the ball down, backs up to a spot. And even with our new mechanic this year, umpires, if you want to back up to this spot for a play like this, totally fine. And you see we have 5 players in the backfield, and that's correct. So it's correctly ruled as an illegal formation by the linesman. Now, as a crew, we need to be thinking about all the possibilities and what to do when these kinds of play happen so that we are ready for any kind of situation and what to do. We need to be thinking about what's the foul, down and distance, previous spot, succeeding spot, and then also the most important piece of this is clock status. So on this play, illegal formation, remember, does not kill the play. We're going to let it come to a conclusion. The result of the play is a legally grounded forward pass, so an incomplete pass. So the clock status is a stopped clock that's going to start on the snap and not on the ready for play. We are going to enforce the penalty 5 yards from the previous spot and replay second down, and that part is correct. But the clock status should have been on the snap and not on the ready for the play, and the referee winds the clock here, and we lose about 3 or 4 seconds. Clock status is not a referee thing or a line judge thing. It's a crew thing. And when we have plays like this, when time is critical, we should get together as a crew and discuss all the options. If they take the penalty, what's going to happen? If they decline it, what will happen? Where will we enforce it from? What will the down and distance be? And then most importantly, clock status, we need to discuss that and make sure we're all on the same page. We handled all of this perfectly until we won the clock, and it seems that no one communicated with the referee about what the clock status is. So make sure we are thinking in advance of what the options are. That is critical to do as a crew. A referee I used to work for would call thinking about plays in advance and what to do with them situational baseball, meaning think about what you're going to do with the baseball before it's hit to you. Because if you're thinking about what to do with the baseball once it's hit to you, that's too late. Well, same thing with officiating. We need to think about all the aspects of a play or potential plays and what we would do with them, especially at crunch time. So, is this a probable pass play? What would I do if the quarterback rolls my way? What happens if we have a foul? Is one team likely to take it or not? All of those kind of aspects we need to think about in advance and communicate as a crew. That way, if something like those things happen, we are ready, especially for the things that are goofy. And another referee I used to work for would say, any game that's played with a ball that's not round is bound to have screwy things happen. Now, is an illegal formation a screwy play? No, but clock status got us caught up here, and if we had been thinking about all aspects in advance, I think we would have gotten all parts of this play correctly officiated, and we would have moved on with no issues. But we need to think about all the aspects in advance, think about it as a crew, and then if you think something's wrong on the field, say something. If you're like, you know what, I don't think this clock status is right, we need to discuss this, then stop the game. Don't take it back into the locker room. That doesn't do us any good. If you think something's wrong, say something. And don't let the referee be the one that has to figure out all of this. If you are one of the off officials, especially on this play, so line judge, back judge, be the crew saver, come in and give that information that can help the crew and save them from a mistake that could potentially alter the outcome of the game. Now, I don't think that happened in this case, and this crew did a great job, but we wouldn't want a little hiccup like this to affect the credibility of the crew. So if we think about it from a situational baseball perspective and thinking about what we're going to do with the baseball before it's hit to us from an officiating perspective, I think we're going to be in good shape as we move through the game. And that way, both simple and difficult situations can be handled with a little bit more ease and a little bit more calm and comfort because we've thought about all the possibilities in advance. Okay, in this play, 3rd and 1, clock is running. We have a critical spot coming up here on this running play. The linesman closes hard, kills the clock, comes all the way to players. If we're not sure on the line to gain, let's come all the way to players, get the ball handed to us by the umpire or another official. Don't toss it to them. We don't want to lose that spot. But if we're not sure, let's come to players, put the ball down, and then let the referee make a decision. Now, if we know the information about the line to gain in advance, we can dispense of this a little quicker. So we want to know the line to gain prior to the play, line of scrimmage officials. But I like the mechanics here. We slide down into the white, square off, come in hard, sell the spot, put it down. Referee makes a decision. But we don't want to turn around and look at the chains. That tells me that we don't know the spot, the line to gain in advance rather, and we want to know that information prior to. And line judge, we can help at the bottom of the screen because we're looking across the field to the chains, or in the first half, flip-flopped, the linesman is looking at the chains. We can help dispense of these a little bit quicker by knowing this information in advance. And it kind of gets back to what we talked about on the last play of situational baseball and knowing what to do and what's going to happen before it happens, or trying to have that information. And that includes knowing the line to gain. If we're starting a series on a big line, if possible, we should have a pretty good idea on a turf field, especially if we've made the line to gain in advance prior to us getting all the way to players like this. But again, if we're not sure, let's pinch all the way to players, get the ball handed to us, put it down at our feet, and let the referee make a decision, which is what we do here. So this is nice mechanics by the crew. I like how we handle this. It's a critical spot. I like the sell. So the mechanics are good. Just something to think about knowing the line to gain and communicating that information with the referee prior to the play, and then as well as after the play, so that we're all on the same page. But overall, nice mechanics by the crew. Third and 8 here, so probable passing play. We need to think about our passing mechanics for the crew. Think about our spot and what we're doing. So line of scrimmage officials, we're holding till the pass is imminent, and then we can release. However, on a pass play like this to the side zone, really no need to release downfield. Let's just turn, pivot, and view the play from a stationary position and then work to the place that we need to be. So the line of scrimmage official here does a great job of that, stays home, views his primary responsibilities, and then pivots, watches players. You'll see he watches players as they go out of bounds, clears them to make sure that we don't have any issues after the play is over. And then the best part about this play is the linesman does an excellent job of crossfield mechanics. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. Turns and pivots, watches players, make sure they're clear, and then looks across the field to the line judge looking for the spot. This is excellent. And also an excellent job by the line judge of providing that help on the forward progress. So when we have pass plays in the flat like this or in the side zone, and forward progress is an issue, especially if it's an airborne receiver and they get pushed back, we're not going to be able to pick up forward progress very accurately on our side of the field. The best person to help out is the opposite wing official, which is exactly what happens here. You can see it on the screen that he officiates players, clears them out, and then looks across the field for that spot and adjusts. This is excellent. This is perfect crossfield mechanics, exactly what we want. This is just wonderful to watch. This is just a clinic on crossfield mechanics and what we need to see from our line of scrimmage officials. And it's a great example for all officials to follow when we're doing this. So again, don't need to release downfield on passes in the flat, but we should work to our spot. by looking across the field at our partner as we do here. Another play here where time is critical, fourth quarter, 1-score game, 3rd and 9. Critical that we have our head in the game, thinking situational baseball, what we're going to do with it, all the possibilities. And I want to take a look at this mechanically and how we can get plays like this correct. So our referee positioning is excellent. This is exactly what we want and where we want to be. So we let the quarterback cross in front of our face, officiate inside out, looking for roughing, legal contact, etc. So we're in good position to view that. So we're really good here referee-wise. But I want to make sure as a crew that we know what to do and how to communicate possible intentional grounding. Remember that in high school football, there is no such thing as getting outside the tackle box. We need to get the ball to an area occupied by an eligible receiver. Now, this is a crew call. This is not a referee call. The referee has to officiate the quarterback and make sure that they're safe and they're not roughed or illegal contact, etc. So they can't be looking downfield to find out where the ball lands. That's going to take communication from other members of the crew, specifically line of scrimmage and back judge. So when we're talking about a receiver in the area, an eligible receiver in the area, we typically take a look at it a couple of ways. So if the receiver is coming back towards the football, we're going to give them a little bit more leeway and say if they're within about 7 yards of the ball and they're coming back towards it when the ball hits the ground, we're going to be fine with that and call them in the area. If they are moving away from the quarterback and not really looking at the ball, then we're going to say 5 yards is going to be about our threshold. So if the ball lands more than 5 yards away, that would not be close enough, and that would be grounds for an intentional grounding foul. So if you take a look at this replay here, he's under duress, he's trying to throw it away, so we have possible grounding, and then you see the receiver is now facing the ball, he's coming back towards the ball, so we can give a little bit more leeway, and we have about 6.5 yards between the ball and the receiver. To me, this is close enough when he's coming back towards the ball. This is not enough for intentional grounding, but we want to know this information, and we want to be able to communicate that if the referee needs it, if we are going to have a grounding foul, and then the referee can put the flag on the ground if that's what we're going to go with. But this is handled correctly, but just think about these aspects in advance. So coming down to crunch time, same game, obvious passing play, quarterback under duress, possible roughing, ball ends up in the side zone. We give information to the referee, who ultimately puts a flag down for intentional grounding, which I think is properly called. And first, we have an excellent announcement by the referee.
That's what it appears to be.
Intentional grounding, number 11. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down, 4th down.
Well,
so you see here the quarterback has a potential for getting roughed with the free defender, and that's where our vision should go as referees. Make sure our vision goes to that free defender to pick up roughing, illegal contact, etc. And then if the ball ends up in an area like this where there's a potential for grounding, line of scrimmage, back judge, let's go to the referee hard with information. Let them make a decision about the quarterback being in duress and trying to dump the ball, and then they can put a flag down somewhere in the area, which we do a nice job of here. We enforce it correctly from the proper location, so that part was all correct. A couple things to consider for the crew when we're talking about ruling on passes. Line of scrimmage and umpires, and even back judges for that matter, if the pass comes out goofy, we might want to stay off of complete or incomplete and let the referee come in and make a ruling on that, because it's possible we could have an open hand, which means we have a fumble. And if we call it incomplete, now we're talking about inadvertent whistles, and we really don't want to go down that path. So just something to consider. I'm not saying that happened here, but I've seen it several times in Division One and NFL games this year where the quarterback's hand is moving forward, but the ball is not in his grasp or possession, and we have a fumble. And so if it comes out wonky, we need to let the referee make the determination on forward, backward, incomplete. We can come with information as a line of scrimmage official, but we should let the referee make the decision. And I can see there's some hesitancy by the line of scrimmage official at the bottom of the screen on ruling incomplete on this, which is fine. If we're not sure, we should just do nothing and let the referee make that determination. And then once the referee makes the determination on incomplete, then we can come hard with information that there's no receiver in the area, which I think we do here. So overall, this is really well handled. Just some things to think about when we have passes that come out goofy and we have intentional grounding and other unusual situations come up. As long as we're thinking about all the aspects in advance, I think we should be in good shape on handling these plays. Okay, that will do it for training tape number 2. Hopefully that gives you some things to think about. This is a little shorter week with games on a number of nights on MEA weekend. Hopefully you all have great games this week. Travel safe, stay safe and healthy. Just a reminder, make sure we're doing everything we can possible to allow these kids to have a full season, and that means following all the safety procedures and protocols, wearing masks whenever possible, and we're required to prior to and after the game, but during the game, even if you can, anything we can do to prolong the season and give these kids a full opportunity to play, I think we should consider and we should follow through on. So thanks for your efforts. Appreciate all of you and your work, and we will get back to you next week with some more plays.